Hi everyone, it's time for Miss Upton's cooking class. I hope you enjoyed making the Mars bar flapjacks last week. I know I enjoyed eating mine. This week I'm going to be showing you how to make super simple scrummy pizzas. And the best thing about this recipe is it makes enough for 2 pizzas so you can share them with your family. You can choose which toppings you like depending on what your favourite foods are. So I hope you enjoy our recipe this week. The ingredients we need this week are 350 grams of self-raising flour. If you can only get plain flour, then you can use this and add 3 teaspoons of baking powder to it. You will need 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 170 millilitres of water, some tomato puree, some mozzarella cheese and some cheddar cheese. And then the rest is up to you. So the ingredients that I've chosen are pepperoni, some cooked chicken, sliced red onions, sliced red peppers and some sweet corn. The equipment you will need this week is a mixing bowl, a baking tray, a rolling pin, a wooden spoon and a small spatula. If you don't have a small spatula, you can use a teaspoon instead. Firstly, ask a grown-up to help you to preheat the oven to 180 degrees C. You're going to be getting your hands quite sticky and messy, but before we start, we need to make sure we wash our hands. Plenty of soap, guys. Firstly, we're going to make the dough for our pizza. Usually this would take a while and use yeast, and we would have to wait for it to rise for a little time. But this is a super easy recipe that can be used straight away and doesn't need any time to rise. First of all, pop your flour into a mixing bowl and add your teaspoon of salt. Use your wooden spoon to give them a quick mix together. Next, you're going to use your spoon to make a small hole in the middle of your flour. Into the hole, pour your tablespoon of vegetable oil. You could use sunflower oil or olive oil if you don't have vegetable. You're then going to add your water. I don't add it all at once because sometimes the dough can be stickier than others. So add about 3/4 of the water and then start to mix the flour into the wet ingredients. If you need to add the rest of the water, you can do. Keep mixing until all the flour is incorporated into the mixture. You need a dough that is soft but not too sticky. Your dough should look like this. If it's too sticky, you can add a bit more flour, and if it feels too dry, you can add some more water. Just use your judgment. You're now going to place your dough onto a floured work surface and use your hands to knead the dough for around 5 minutes or until it is nice and smooth. The easiest way I find to knead dough is to press it with your hand, fold it over, press again. Continue this until you have a nice smooth dough. That was a good workout. So now that your dough is nice and soft and smooth, you're going to split it in half. So if you want to make 2 larger pizzas, break it in half. If you want to make 4 smaller pizzas, then break it into 4. Keep one of your balls on your work surface, and you're now going to use your rolling pin to roll it out nice and thin. Pop your hand on top of the rolling pin and roll backwards and forwards. This will ensure that you have a nice evenly rolled dough. It can be quite tricky to get a really thin pizza base, as the gluten in the flour makes your dough very stretchy, which makes it want to move back when you press it out. You may want to use your hands to help you at this point. It's up to you what shape you want to make your pizza. Traditionally they are circular, but you can choose. This is your pizza, so use your imagination. Once your dough is the size and shape that you want it to be, and nice and thin, you need to place it on your baking tray. It's now time to start with our toppings. First of all, you're going to pop on some tomato puree. So I'm going to use my little spatula to spread the puree all over the pizza base, leaving a little bit at the edge without sauce. This will make the crust of your pizza. Make sure that it's spread all over the dough. If you prefer not to use tomato puree, a good alternative would be barbecue sauce, or one of my very favourite pizzas uses creme fraiche as its base instead. The next thing to do is to add some of your grated cheddar. So sprinkle this over the top of your tomato puree. It's up to you how much you put on, depending on how much cheese you like. As you can see, I like my pizzas quite cheesy. Now it's time to add the other toppings of your choice. So I'm going to pop those on. You can think about the toppings that you would like to use. Think about the colours. Think about what pattern you're going to put them onto your pizza in. So I'm just adding some pepperoni to my pizza. I'm putting it around the edge. I'm now going to add some of my cooked chicken. I'll put that in the middle, I think. Next, I'm going to add some of my red onions. Sprinkle those over the top. A few pieces of pepper. And a sprinkling of sweet corn. Sweet corn is my favourite pizza topping. Once you're happy with where you've placed your toppings, it's time to finish it off with a little bit of mozzarella cheese. This is nice and soft, so you can pull pieces off with your fingers and add them to the top of your pizza. This is the kind of cheese that goes all stringy when your pizza comes out of the oven. It's now time to pop your pizza into the oven. It should take around 20 minutes to cook. Remember to ask a grown-up to help with this part. While your pizza's cooking in the oven, here is your challenge for this week. It's one challenge for everyone. I'd like you to write a poem about your pizza. So think about which toppings you've used, how does your pizza taste, what does it smell like? You could write an acrostic poem where you put the letters down the side and then write the words going across. You could make your poem rhyme. I'd really love to see your poems, so if you want to send them to me with your photos of your pizzas, that would be really good. I'm just going to get my pizza out of the oven now. Your pizza should take around 20 minutes in the oven, but to check if it's ready or not, have a look at the cheese on top, if it's nice and melted, and if the edges of your pizza dough are golden brown. If this is the case, then your pizza is ready. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week with another cooking class from Miss Upton. Take care, everybody. Bye.